Sup, sexies? So, we're back for some more Fae content, and it's that time once again. So, we've got the Datamines for the Brave Hero Refines from Choose Your Legends 3. We're actually going to split this video up into two parts because the info is just outrageous. The amount of things that we have to talk about for this update are pretty crazy. So, we're just going to start with part 1 being the refines for all the heroes that got them. And then in part 2, we're going to talk about the stats for the brand new units, as well as a couple of other pretty interesting bits of info that we got here. So, like I said, we're starting off with the refines, and we're going to start with the man himself over here. We have Brave Alm. So, Draco Falchion, 16 might, HP up 3, effective against dragons, grants attack up 3. At the start of the turn, unit can move 1 extra space. That turn only, doesn't stack. If unit initiates combat or is not adjacent to an ally, grants all stats up 5 to unit during combat. Already, this is much better than what it used to be. Getting the 1 extra space movement is actually pretty sick for him, and he definitely needed something like that, because I feel infantry units nowadays, if they're trying to player phase, they really have a hard time competing with the cavalry units now, because especially after cavalry units gain the advantage of Kanto, it's just so much easier to use them and hit and run with them, and then you're free to set up your positioning the way you want. Whereas infantry types only moving 2 spaces without Odd or even Tempest, it's just really sucky. So they gave him 1 movement for free, that's really good. At the start of combat, if unit's HP is above or equal to 25%, grants another all stats up 5 to unit during combat. And also, if the foe uses sword, lance, axe, bow, dagger, or beast damage, and unit's speed is better than the foe's speed, neutralizes effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks, and foe cannot counterattack. Okay, so against physical-type opponents that deal physical-based damage, if he has more speed, he has half of null follow-up, and he gets a fire sweep effect. So this is a pretty potent player phase build for him. Really nice weapon. I just wish they would have upgraded Sense Scale a little bit, because, I mean, comparing Sense Scale to Atrocity is just a complete loss. This is no hope for Atrocity or no hope for Sense Scale to compete with that one. So, maybe in the future when they start doing these refines, they'll also refine the Brave Hero unique skills. I think that would be cool. Either way, Alm got a pretty good refine. There's not really much I can complain about. Like I was saying, though, he has to compete with virtually all of the Kanto cavalry player phasers, and him not getting access to trace skills because he's an infantry type is going to hurt his usability a little bit, but I think he could still be a potent force for sure. Okay, so we're moving on to Eliwood up next, and he's got Nini's Ice Lance. 16 might and HP up 3. Effective against dragon and beast. Grants speed up 3. If unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants all stats up 5 to unit, and neutralizes effects that prevent units' follow-up attacks during combat. So, again, we're getting half of null follow-up and all stats up 5. If unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants another all stats up 5 to unit. And also, if unit speed is better than the foe's speed, reduces damage from attacks during combat and from area of effect specials by 40%. If he has basically 10 more points of speed than them. Okay, so this is also pretty good. Damage reduction, all stats up 10. Half of null follow-up is not really much you can complain about. Also effective against dragon and beast. So, I think he's going to be able to beat Fallen Edelgard with this. And you're free to give him a trace skill like you can't do with Alm, so that's already pretty good in his favor. I kind of feel like I like Alm's refine a little better, but Eliwood being cavalry type, I think that gives him a little bit of an edge. I don't know, I'm going to have to playtest these two to really see, but they both definitely look like some solid player phase options. Alright, next up we have Brave Mikaya. So, before the refines were even announced, I was placing my money on either Brave Mikaya or Brave Camilla having the best refine of the batch. So, let's see if I was right or wrong about that. Alright, a little bit of her effect is clipped off here because of how much text there is. Understandable, but basically what it says is effective against armor and cavalry. Grants res up 3. At the start of combat, if foe's HP is above or equal to 75%, or a penalty is active on the foe, grants all stats up 4 to unit during combat, and grants bonuses to all stats during combat equal to the current penalty on each of target's stats. Calculates each stat bonus independently. Alright, that's pretty good, obviously. If the enemies have debuffs, she's just going to turn into a giant stat ball. Alright, we also have if unit initiates combat or is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack and res up 6 to unit during combat, and unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack. Okay, I totally saw that coming. After we saw what they did to the legendary Mikaya, I was almost certain that they were going to give her a guaranteed follow-up, and they did. And we also get attack and res up 6. So she's a stat ball, she has a guaranteed follow-up. She's going to be weak against null follow-up, though. So you may have to be wary of that. She's not really all that quick, but maybe you'll be able to get enough speed out of her with all of the bonuses that she's getting to stats. And if she inflicts debuffs to the foes, then that'll help out a lot as well. Alright, but not like blowing me away crazy compared to Brave Hector and Brave Ike from Year 1 and Year 2. Alright, maybe Camilla can change that. So we're going to look at Camilla next because she's the last of the Brave batch, and then we'll take a look at the Legendary Remixes. So, Sandgritter, 14 might and 2 range. Foe cannot counterattack. If foe initiates combat, grants attack and speed up 4 during combat. After combat, if unit attacked, inflicts gravity on the target and foes within 1 space of target. And also, at the start of the turn, inflicts defense and res -7 on foes within 3 columns or 3 rows centered on unit through the next actions. Wow. Okay, that's pretty nasty. And if unit initiates combat, grants attack and speed up 6 to unit during combat. Yeah, oh man, she's good. Yeah, she's good. Okay, I almost want to say she is probably the best of the batch. Man, it really depends. I feel like outside of Mikaya, yeah, Mikaya definitely got some good stuff, but I think between Alm, Eliwood, and Brave Camilla, they seem to have gotten a lot more out of their refines here. I want to say, yeah, I'm going to say Camilla is in first place out of this batch, just because on paper, she seems to be the most practical. Inflicting defense and res -7 on such a wide target radius is pretty nasty. That's going to be able to help all your other units out when they're attacking at the start of the turn. And then on top of that, she just gets attack and speed up 6 and attack and speed up 4. So she's nuts. Like, there's not really that many staff units that have this much of a stat bonus to attack and speed here. And then inflicting gravity as well, like we've talked about before with how the safety fence affected Legendary Claude. Gravity is just really good right now. So I'm going to call it for Brave Camilla. Let me know in the comment section down below which of the Brave heroes do you think got the best refine overall. I don't know, man. Like, I'm still looking at these two, and I can totally see the potential they're going to have on the player phase, but how practical is Alm actually going to be without having Trace? And then Eliwood is good. Eliwood is good, but he has to compete as well with Summer Kata and also the Brave Erica, which I feel both of them are probably just a little bit better than him. Although it's really hard to say, man. I don't know. All stats up 10. That's pretty bananas, dude. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at these Legendary Remixes now. Okay, so Ephraim's got Flame Siegmund with 16 might and 3 health. Grants attack up 3. If unit initiates combat or is not adjacent to an ally, grants attack and defense up 4 to unit during combat. And unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack. Okay, so they totally took out like all the bad effects that were on here. Before, if he wanted to get the guaranteed follow-up, he had to, or more enemies had to be within range than allies, which is a really weird effect. So him just getting the guaranteed follow-up on initiation is a lot better. And at the start of combat, if unit's HP is above or equal to 25%, inflicts attack and defense -5 on the foe, and grants special cooldown charge +1 to unit per attack during combat. Oh boy. Dude, that's good. And then you combine that with Solar Brace 2, where he has the nullification of guard. Yeah, dude, that's pretty legit. Okay. So he gets this ramp effect. This is actually better than Heavy Blade, because it's the same wording here as Steady Breath. So that means even if the foe is hitting you, you're going to be getting the +1 special charge. So yeah, he's going to be able to ramp into basically whatever he wants. You could go with Ignis, you could go with Gale Force. I mean, it's pretty much whatever you feel like giving him. And it's going to work out pretty well. So this is a really nice refine for him. Especially Solar Brace 2 having Kanto built in. He's going to be awesome. Just got to watch out for null follow-up, because otherwise he's not going to be able to get his double attack. And the last unit of the batch is Legendary Lyn. Okay, so needless to say, she needs all the help she can get. So let's see if she got it. So Swift Muligir, 14 might, 2 range. Effective against flying. Grants res up 3. If unit is within 3 spaces of an ally, grants attack and speed up 5 to unit during combat. And also, during combat, disables skills of all foes, excluding the foe in combat? What? Huh? So she just gets Impenetrable Dark? Okay, that's not what I was expecting, but okay. Now, see, the thing about this is I don't believe it counters save skills, unfortunately. So if she's attacking a foe, they're still going to be able to get protected by armored units. That's how it works with Bramimon. For some reason, save skills go through this effect. But otherwise, she's getting attack and speed up 5, so let's see what else she gets here. If unit initiates combat or if foe's HP is above or equal to 75% at the start of combat, deals damage equal to 15% of unit speed, and grants another attack and speed up 5 to unit during combat. Yeah, man, she needed speed, and they gave her a lot of speed. She needed some damage. They gave her 15% of her speed basis damage. And then having this effect here, Impenetrable Dark, is pretty cool. I'm not sure how much that's going to help Lyn herself, but it's obviously one of the more powerful effects in the game. You can just lock out support units, so whatever unit you're attacking is basically left to their own skills to have to fight you. So combine this with her Laws of Sakatu. I think this is pretty solid. I don't think we could have asked for better, to be honest. They gave her basically everything she needed here. But is it going to be enough to make her usable? That we'll have to see in time. Okay, and we have one final refine in the batch. So that's going to be the Male Kanna. Alright, let's go ahead and bump the size of this up a little bit. So we got Dusk Dragonstone with 16 might and HP up 3. If foe initiates combat, or if foe's HP is above or equal to 75% at the start of combat, grants all stats up 4 to unit during combat. And if the foe's range is 2, then he gets adaptive damage. Okay. Also, if unit is within 3 spaces of an ally, grants another all stats up 4 to unit during combat, and recovers 7 HP to unit after combat. Okay. So he gets a little bit of a Mystic Boost effect there with the healing. All stats up 8 and adaptive damage. Yeah, you know, honestly, he's just a stat ball with a recovery effect. I don't really think this is a crazy one. Compare that to Morgan M and Morgan F. Like how Morgan F got her refine so long ago, and then when they finally gave Morgan M his refine, they gave him a whole bunch of unique effects. So I was kind of hoping they would do the same thing with Male Kanna, but it doesn't look like we had any such luck. He's just basically a stat ball, so I don't know. If you're going to be baiting with a dragon unit that's just a stat ball, you may want to be looking into something else, honestly. But that's not to say it's not going to put him in a much better situation than he was before. So that's going to wrap us up for the refine portion of this video. We still have a lot to cover. We got the stats for the new heroes, and we also have some information on a brand new character that Some of you may already be able to guess who that might be, but I don't want to go down the spoiler route again, so we're going to keep that a secret. So this is your boy Tacho signing out. Let me know once again which of the Brave heroes you think got the better end of the stick. Like I said, I feel like Camilla's is the most practical and going to be applied the easiest with the way she works. But, man, these two getting all stats up 5 is pretty nuts. So that's going to wrap us up for today, like I said. But we are going to be back in just a sec, and we're going to cover the rest of the Datamines. So look forward to that, guys, and I will catch y'all again in just a second.